Batı Trakya Oturum Başkanı Süleyman Mazlum, konuşmacılarımız Vemont Arbakke, Lambros Balçotis, Panagloto Kalafati, Yorgos Mavromatis, Dionysos Panaglotis Makris. Buyurun.
Evet, son oturumumuza hoş geldiniz. Oturuma başlamadan önce biliyorsunuz fuayede bir sergimiz var. Semih Boroy tarafından hazırlanan sergi, hepiniz gezmişsinizdir. Mübadelenin 19 maddesini çizgilerle anlatıyor. Vakıf olarak önce bunu gençler için mübadeleyi daha kolay anlasınlar, ilgilerini çeksin diye bir broşür ya da kitapçık gibi düşünmüştük. Ama burada da bir sergi açmasını rica ettik kendisinden. Huzurlarınızda Semih Boroy'a çok çok teşekkür ediyorum bu katkılarından dolayı. Evet, birinci sunuş Vemont Oğurbakke tarafından yapılacak. Kendisi Selanik'te Aristoteles Üniversitesi'nde siyaset bölümünde yardımcı doçenttir. Araştırmaları modern dönemde Balkanlara odaklanmıştır ve milliyetçilik, irredentizm, nüfus hareketleri, mülteciler, azınlıklar ve demokratikleşme gibi temalara vurgu yapmaktadır. Buyurun.
Teşekkür ederim. Yani burada katılmak için çok mutluyum ve tertip komitesine çok tebrik ederim. Benim için daha kolay İngilizce kullanıyorum. Onun için şimdi İngilizce konuşacağım. I've been working for several years on things that has to do with the area in Greece that is known as Western Thrace. And it is interesting for me exactly because that was a place where Greek, Bulgarian and Turkish nationalism converge. When it comes to the population of the area, before we start with population exchanges or wars and things like that, I can show a map here. This is a Greek map, but you see also a Greek map that was made for the Greek claims after the First World War. You can see that the area here has a very strong Muslim population. If we compare that to a Bulgarian map, then here the Bulgarians are green. You see you have immediately fewer Turks here because you had a very large part of the Muslim population that was Bulgarian speaking, as they would say, the so-called Pomak. So that shows the different kind of ideological approach of the Bulgarians. We can look also at some of the statistics from the times. Or before that, we can look at some of the important features of the nationalism. My impression, at least, when we look at the late 19th century and early 20th century, it was really the Bulgarian national movement that was driving the trade. And you can see that, for example, also in the population statistics, you had the Bulgarian commercial agent in Edirne, Toma Karayevov. He made a very detailed book about the situation in the Edirne vilayet, not only when it came to the population, but also when it came to economic issues and administrative issues and so on. If you, for example, compare that to the reports of Stylianos Ugonatas, who was an agent in the Greek consulate in Edirne in 1907, He was later the Prime Minister of Greece after the Asia Minor catastrophe. You could see that the Greek consulate at the time was not that well informed, and he was trying to collect very basic data about the population. So what was really opposing Bulgarian nationalism there from the Greek side was more the patriarchate than Athens. I also found interested, I was reading the very well-known Bulgarian ethnographist Vasil Kintyov. He writes 1900, and he tried to describe the position of the different population elements. So I can read from here. He says that in number and in terms of physical strength, the Turks still hold a prominent place. But as a cultural force, they stand in the background. Any political change that would take away the political supremacy of the Turks and put them on equal footing with other people would lead to the loss of their importance altogether. So there you can see also the different dynamics between the populations that are claiming the area and their various advantages and weaknesses. This is the statistics of Toma Karayevov for the Dedaj Sandjak, 1903. I don't want to go into details here so much, but you see the interesting thing here is that he operates with 3 different criteria. There is confession, it is mother tongue, and it is church affiliation. And you know, in the case of church affiliation, that was really the difficult point between Greek and Bulgarian nationalism. Besides that, he also referred to the official statistic of the Ottoman Empire and his own statistics that are unofficial, as he says. And in that, I won't go into detail now, but it's interesting to see where you have the differences. Of course, you will have differences when it comes to which church they are affiliated with, but also differences when it comes to the actual Ottoman figures. And you can be sure that he had a very good network at this time, so he could challenge it. And this is not something that is made for propaganda. This is made for the purposes of the Bulgarian strategy in the area. On the other hand, let me see now. Something is... Yeah, this is the Gumulgine Sandjak. And you can see in this case, maybe because here the Muslim population is totally dominant, he operates only with the official figures for the Ottoman Empire, because they've not been able, or it's not been practical to make up their own population statistics in order to find what is going on. And other things that you see here too is that the tones in Evros, the Bulgarians generally, they were a population that were in the villages, so they do not have a very strong position in the tones, which is also one of the difference between the Greek and the Bulgarian position here. Of course, we are entering a period where population statistics are very important for the national claims. And you could see that Venizelos was very much using population statistics in order to back the Greek claims during this time. On the other hand, we are now dealing with an area where Venizelos was not that well informed and a situation that was very dynamic. We can even go back to the Russo-Turkish War in 1878, where you had a very large number of refugees that came as the Russian army advanced, and the Rhodope Mountains became a buffer zone between the Russian army and the Ottomans, which led to refugees settling in near Gümülgine, where you have even up to today some neighborhoods with names from further north. When it came to population movement after that, of course, in the First Balkan War, Bulgaria swept down the Evros Valley, or Maritsa, as you sometimes say. You also have the border point today, Makasa, above Komotini, where the army was passing by, which meant that you had a very large number of refugees that fled. And when I speak to a Greek audience, they are usually not aware what a tremendous catastrophe the First Balkan War was for the Ottoman Empire. But it's probably known for all of you what a terrible defeat it was, and what a shock it really was for the political circles. Also,